Hey guys, I wanted to talk about something that's been catching my attention lately, and that has to do with practice and some of the things that I see out there when it comes to conversations within Facebook groups or Instagram, or just hearing people talk in general about practice, even when I talk to my students about it. And there are some things that I would keep in mind and some guidelines that I would definitely keep in mind when it comes to practice. But what I'm finding way too often, and I was guilty of this myself through the early stages in college, trying to figure things out, but I think that now it's even more of an issue in a way, because there's so many resources out there and so many different opinions about what to do, how to do it. And the big thing that I'm finding is that people are looking for, it seems like, validation on what to practice, and is it okay to do this or do that. And there's one thing that I see. I'll give an example. One topic that I see that comes up sometimes, and that is it okay to use transcribed solos to practice? Why not? I know that there's arguments about you shouldn't do it because you should transcribe it yourself. Why not do that too? Why not do both? It's perfectly fine. I don't think that there has to be a dichotomy on this. You don't have to choose one or the other. You can do both. In one sense, when you read transcribed solos, you're building some reading skills. I would definitely listen to what you're playing, though, unless it's a sight reading thing. Even if it was sight reading, unless your ears are incredibly good and you don't have to rely on the music and you're using your ears instead to play along, then maybe that's a whole separate thing to deal with. But why not use it as source material for your sight reading? I see no problem in doing that. I've done that in my practice. I have students of mine do that. I think it's a great resource. It's something to have. That way you don't have to concentrate on the transcription part of it. And I'll talk more about transcription just in a moment. But why not go ahead and use those as source material for your practice? And when you're reading, because people ask, what should I read? What should I use for reading? There's tons of resources out there. But if you're using transcribed solos for your reading, then you're taking care of a couple of things at once. I mean, you have this source material that is played, as long as hopefully it's done right and it's not a transcription that's horribly wrong. But by playing this, you are playing the language. Especially if it's an artist that you like, you're playing the material that they're playing. And it's a great tool for your reading too. You can work on it for sight reading, then go back and actually work on getting it to where it needs to be, in a correct way, listening to the recording, listening to how it's phrased. Now, on the other side of this, you also have the transcription part of it. And transcription gets talked about, and there's, of course, a dichotomy with this. Should you write it down or not write it down? Be pretty blunt about it. Who cares? Do what you want to do with it. I think that there's a good bit to be gained from taking the material and actually writing it out. Early on I wrote it out, and I'll tell you, when you do something like that, you are working on your ability to hear something and to put it on paper, which is a great tool to have to your disposal when you want to write tunes. And I also see the other side of it, when you just listen to it and figure it out without writing it down, not having a crutch, not having something to keep falling back on. You have to retain what you've learned, and you're developing more of your musical memory in order to do that. So when it comes to this, should I do this, should I do that, should I practice my scales this way or that way, or should I do arpeggios or finger exercises? Who cares? Do what you want to do to further your development. Once again, like I've said before though, if you're early on in your practice, take advice on some of these things, but don't look for validation on, is this okay or not okay. If you're finding benefit from what you're practicing and it's working for you, there's no reason to put it out there to see whether or not, is it okay if I do this or not? If it's working for you, if you're finding that you are improving in your playing, your musicianship is improving, all these skills, all these things that you're working on is improving, then do it. Work on it for you. Don't look for the validation of all the people out there in social media. I mean, there's so many opinions out there, and the thing is, you're going to find people who agree with you, and you're going to find people who don't agree with you. There's going to be people who argue, and there's going to be people that talk about the benefits, how it helped them. So you're going to find yes and no for whatever you're looking for. You're going to find people who agree and disagree, and that's fine. Now, I will say that, once again, like I mentioned a moment ago, that if you're early in your development and you're working on things and you need some guidance, then yeah, why not search out some things? But try to look for, those people that you really admire, the playing of people you really admire, and see, well, what is it that is in their playing, how they practice, how maybe do they think about it? And I'll throw it out there, even myself. I mean, contact me. You can reach out to me, through my webpage, and I got links below. I have resources too. If you enjoy what I do, reach out to me. I'd be happy to discuss that. So don't always spend your time looking for that, because that is a real rabbit hole right there, and you will just keep going and going and going, and then before you know it, all that practice time you could have been using to your advantage to get better is lost, because you're searching to see if it's okay what you're doing. And I was there too. So good luck in your practice, and don't get too caught up on all those things. And here's something, I'll throw this out. I'm going to be working on a video for musiclessons.com that breaks down my practice routine, at least a current practice routine, and I will go through basically a practice session, and you'll be able to follow along with that if you're interested. And when that comes out, I'll be sure to notify all of you about what's going on. But like I said, good luck in your practice. Stay true to what you know works, and just keep going with it. Quit worrying so much about it. It's just practice. It's not the end of the world. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to check the links below, where you'll find links to my musiclessons.com page, where you'll find links to my website, the gear that I use, and a blog called The Everyday Musician that comes out every Thursday. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.